We need to understand the real reason why USAID is in Africa. Their sole purpose was to act as if they're coming to rescue Africa. Africa has been the provider. If you look at Europe, Europe cannot survive without Africa. But what they don't tell you is that Africa, through exploitation of its resources by the Europeans, was actually a much, much bigger contribution to the European recovery post-World War II. Nobody talks about that. Let me tell you, we need to look at what's happening in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. President Traore is standing up. He is saying the natural resources in Burkina Faso, they belong to the people of Burkina Faso. African leaders must also say Africa first. That is what African leaders, it's a joke that the African leaders should continue to be beggars of peanuts when you are looking and allowing billions to get out of your country year in and year out, if not trillions, in natural resources that your people should be benefiting from. It is a wake-up call for African leaders to wake up and say, President Trump is saying, US first, America first. You too must say, your country first, because you have everything it takes. It is a joke. It is embarrassing to see I have not seen any African leader cry over USAID living. I can tell you for a fact, the average African leader privately is celebrating the exit of USAID because they know.
It was released earlier today. It says that in 2022, at least 435 tons of gold were smuggled out of Africa. 435 tons. That's more than 1 ton of gold every day.
Dubai has been exploiting Africa's gold. But who's behind this masterminded heist? If you think it's just one nation, you're mistaken. In reality, multiple nations have banded together to plunder Africa's gold. And tragically, while they grow richer, Africa remains trapped in economic instability. They build empires on African gold and in return, give nothing. So, who's really behind it all? Let's find out. Africa, blessed with immense natural wealth, has long been the target of foreign exploitation. From the dark days of colonization to the modern era of globalization, Africa's resources have consistently been drained by those who see its riches as theirs for the taking. Today, the United Arab Emirates UAE, with its gleaming skyscrapers and luxurious lifestyle, stands at the center of a new chapter in this age-old story, the illegal gold trade. In 2022 alone,
really a sad day in America. We are witnessing a constitutional crisis. We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are. This is what the beginning of...
And I have said, I want to change this country spectacularly in 3 years. So I don't have 10 years. I don't have 5 years. I don't have 6 months to decide whether or not and go to court. No, I don't have that time. People, yourselves, need accommodation. And if I'm going to submit myself to a process that will take me 10 years to deliver accommodation to you, then I would have failed you, and failed you spectacularly. So what do? We need to ensure that there's transparency, there's openness, there's accountability in each and every process that we undertake. No doubt, that is not negotiable, and that there is no corruption. And so people say, when you acknowledge a failed system, and you say, whatever we do, we must not do this one. He say he's trying to give tenders to his relatives. I want you to know my relatives. Just check, you'll know them. You need to know them so that you can track whether any one of my relatives has any tender. You need to ascertain, you need to be sure about these things. So that when these allegations are flung about, because one is seeking to move from an entrenched system of corruption to something that offers us some redemption yet. You are able to interrogate the allegations. And we must interrogate the allegations together. And so it's going to be very critical for us to find ways of moving away from this corrupt system and engaging in a different one that we can monitor and track, one that delivers results timeously, within budget, no corruption. And so we need to look for the best practices. And that we will do. If there's anything that I'm not afraid to do, it is to take decisive measures, even in the face of opposition and hostility. If it has to be done, it is good for the country, it is good for the people, I will do it. Make no mistake about it. I declare this, and I declare it publicly so that it is known, so that when you gauge and you assess, you understand how I approach these matters. And with me, I'm always open to engagement. You disagree with me? Let's talk. You tell me, I think you're getting it wrong here. And I'll listen to you. And if I realize you are correct, I will say it to you, but not just to you. I'll also say it publicly. I've been advised by my friend or my colleague that this approach is wrong. I have reassessed. I have come to the conclusion that it is actually wrong, and we self-correct. That's how you operate. Because we are all frail and fallible. This is the concept of Bofokoti. This is what it means. When you say that, it means you appreciate your own frailties, your own brokenness. You're broken and fissured yourself. And so, when others come and they approach you with a different perspective, you pay attention. And when you realize they are correct, you heed what they say. This is how you operate in a sane and sober environment. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what position you occupy. It's called humility. Just the ability to acknowledge that I may be wrong. Even when you think you've got it right 100%, you may actually be 100% wrong. And when somebody challenges you, if you think you are right and you believe in the correctness of your proposition, then it becomes an opportunity for you to persuade them, to win them over, or be won over to their side. And so I don't understand why sometimes there's conflict. When we engage on any issue, and you know, you assess. That's why you do recon. You collect data. You assess it critically. You examine it from different perspectives. And then you take a decision. But if you go out there, rumor and gossip gets people so excited. Even some who call themselves analysts, you look at what they're trying to say, there's no analysis. But you, by virtue of your profession, your training, are analysts, because you deal only in facts. And you take decisions based on accurate information, not speculation, not rumor, not gossip, not pettiness, not frivolity, not absurdity. That's your job. And you need to demonstrate these capabilities because you have them. And so it's important for us to understand these issues. And I commit here and now and going forward to working with you to build the Botswana Defence Force so that it truly provides for security, accountability, and meritocracy. That your actions on and off duty reflect our respect for human rights and the rule of law. Let us build a force, a defense force, that is not only formidable in capability, but one that is also exemplary in character. And if we do this, we will ensure that the Botswana Defence Force remains a pillar of peace, security, and progress for generations to come. I also would like to urge, there are many programs that we are trying to develop on the trot. One of them is a housing program called Bonno Housing Scheme. The bold ambition of this program is to ensure home ownership. That no person in this country be without a decent house. And I've seen how many of our people retire into penury, into poverty. And there's a structural explanation for this. And I've said before, we have operated a low-wage economy across for a very long time, such that a person who earns 20,000 belongs in the top 1% of high-income earners in this country. 20,000. And so you can imagine, if you slide all the way down, what it means for the everyday experience of our people. This should be a source of grave concern for all of us, especially for government. We need to be very concerned about this. And so when we complain, with good reason, we need to understand that we are dealing with a structural problem. And so we must face up to it and address it structurally. So this housing scheme is an attempt to place immovable property in the hands of citizens, as many of them as we possibly can. And the ambition is to build 100,000 of these houses in the next 3 years. I've said 3. The minister says he wants to do it in 2 years. And so this program is being rolled out in every constituency. The minimum is 1,000 houses. And so wherever you come from, you are entitled if you have a piece of land that you've not been able to develop because of the challenges that we all face. You now can, for a very reasonable amount per month, at least put up some decent shelter. The idea is to ensure our citizens have decent accommodation. But we'll also engage in other programs that seek to deliberately transfer wealth, claw it back from where it is, and place it in the hands of the most ordinary of our citizens. It is an obligation. Government has to do this if it is a government of the people, for them and by them. We are also in the process of finalizing the development of a comprehensive national security strategy for this country in order to enhance our security ecosystem. This strategy will provide us with a framework to respond to both external and internal threats, to fashion effective and sagacious, far-sighted security policies, and allocate resources in a manner that strengthens our national resilience. And it will also lead to role clarity in our security environment. And so I call upon all of you as the custodians of our peace and stability to provide your insights, your experience and your wisdom in order to shape this strategy and ensure that it reflects our national values, responds to emerging security challenges, and that it upholds our sovereignty and our territorial integrity in this ever-changing security environment. I am aware that one of the most significant obstacles to developing an effective national security strategy is a lack of consensus, common ground and vision on our national security priorities. This has led to a national security strategy being reactive as opposed to being proactive. In some countries, and indeed maybe in ours as well, defense budgets have been drastically reduced to address other competing priorities and national requirements. But we must appreciate that if we go too far down that road, we stand to suffer immensely in times of need. And so we must position ourselves to be ever ready, properly resourced, having honed and refined our strategic capabilities. And so we must take our cue from what is happening in the region and understand that we must prepare ourselves well in advance, in anticipation, so that we do not wait for tragedy to befall us and then begin to prepare under pressure of calamity. Esteemed senior officers, Botswana's participation in peacekeeping missions stands as an abiding testament to our unwavering commitment to regional stability, unity, and shared progress. Through these missions, we did not only help restore peace in conflict-affected areas, but we also strengthened bonds of friendship with our neighbors. We fostered mutual trust and regional interdependence. Our involvement promotes collective security, it enhances our diplomatic influence, and it reinforces Botswana's role as a responsible and proactive member of the international community. Our active participation in the SADC mission in Mozambique, SAMIM, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, SAMI DRC, evidences this. And we must applaud you and applaud through you ourselves as a country. Turning now to people issues, the BDF has made significant strides in gender integration aimed at addressing issues of equality, equity, and inclusivity. This is demonstrated by the active participation of women in peace and security initiatives on a global stage, and further by the command decision to establish the Gender Integration Office in the BDF. Gender mainstreaming is a critical component of the military for operational efficiency and effectiveness. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, another plague that afflicts us is domestic violence, gender-based violence, murder, suicides, and such like. These pose a serious threat to our national security. These crimes undermine our development agenda, erode social cohesion, and trample upon human rights. These need urgent and coordinated attention across all sections of our population. And you took an oath to defend, to protect. And this oath precludes, it prohibits you from becoming perpetrators of gender-based violence. You must display at all times the discipline, a kind of discipline that moderates your reaction to crisis and challenge, a kind of discipline that enables you to be an exemplar in society. Of course, you are human beings as well. Some of these challenges tax you emotionally and physically. But you are a different breed. You are a trained species of human being, steeped in certain values and a certain order of discipline that must enable you to step back, to reflect soberly and sensibly about some of these challenges, even when they affect you personally. And they affect all of us, by the way. Make no mistake about it. Well, none of us is immune. It is how we choose to react that sets us apart. And so you, in the disciplined forces, must be the ones that lead by example. And so we must all hold hands and protect, defend the country and society against gender-based violence. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and privilege for me to be here with you today and to speak to you at this 20th Senior Officers Strategic Conference, which you hold under the theme Embracing a New Dawn in Defense Capabilities inspired by human security, accountability, and meritocracy. The theme is bold and it is timely. It is as bold and timely as it is inspirational. It sounds a clarion call for transformation, innovation, a people-centered approach to national defense, and a demonstration of a steadfast commitment to the values that have defined the Botswana Defense Force for decades. This theme speaks not only of change in our hardware and tactics, but also to our systems and people.